So welcome once again. I'm Arun and I'm sure you would have really enjoyed the first video on Gallup questions and my answers. And I'm sure by now you would have got complete clarity about that, what is the process, what are the do's and don'ts, how people make mistakes, and what all you need to take care. Now in this part 2, we are only going to focus on questions and also take the inference of the competencies that are linked with these questions. And I'm sure once you understand these questions one after another, you yourself will be able to link those competencies one after another. The important thing is now, based on your role, you need to define which competencies are these and how you are eligible for that job and how your competencies are matching those job requirements is all what they want to check. So stay tuned. We are going to cover this, more questions in this and more answers in this. And also don't forget to subscribe this channel, share these thoughts if they are relevant to you. So now let's get into the second level of questions. Now let's say the question comes, when is it okay to cut the corners? Now a lot of people, as I said earlier, they may not even understand what does it mean by cutting corners. So in very simple terms, cutting corners means that you are going for some shortcuts or maybe some unethical things. So if you are not very sure of, you may give any answers. But if you are very sure of, you will be definitely able to give a correct answer, and that is that you don't cut corners. You always look for the long term. You don't go only for the short term. So you have to relate this with certain examples that how situations have come. Now let's look at the second question. Have you ever walked away from a business? Now again, how well you understand the question, you will be able to respond to it. So have you ever walked away from a business? It clearly means that a lot of people will feel insecure that if I say that I walked away from business, it may become negative on my part, that I am not giving a right answer, because if I say I walked away from business, that means I am not focused on sales or I am not a business oriented person. But that is not the case. Here what they are looking at is that there are situations when this was not a win-win between you and the customer. The customer was trying to arm twist you on some unethical thing, and you decided that you will not go for the business, but you will walk away from the business. So as I said, that if you are focused about and if you understand about the question, you will be able to make a mark. So let's look at question number 3, that how important is company reputation to you on a scale of 1 to 10 if 10 is high. So of course, company reputation is always high on the agenda, so it cannot be 6 or 7. It can be 9, 10 or 11. So this is how when you give an answer of 10, it clearly shows your firmness and your criticality about that particular question. Now let's take another question, that are you always clear on what ethical thing that you need to do is? Or are you always clear about that what are the ethical things to be done? Now again, once you understand that question well, you will be able to answer it accordingly. Now if you think about all these 4 questions that I narrated, they are only talking about the ethical way of doing work, the compliance in the business that you follow. Now once you understand this, you know that the questions are basically checking your knowledge and your own ethics about what ethics you follow when you do business. Now these questions will not come in sequence. They will come 10-15 questions later and you may not realize it. So being true to what you say, if you are very clear about your processes, if you are very clear about your own ethnicity, you will be able to answer these questions with a lot of firmness, with a lot of confidence, a lot of clarity, and with a lot of consistency. We'll see some more questions in the next section. Now let's look at some other set of questions. The questions can be, do you ever feel that you have done enough in your career? Now here, a lot of time people feel that they talk about something very high they have achieved in their career, whether in terms of sales, in terms of their biggest achievement. But it's the question which is talking is that, do you ever feel, the word is ever, So in other words, what they are asking is that, is your best yet to come? So if I have to answer it, I'll put it like this, that my best is yet to come. I'm always looking for challenging assignments coming towards my side. Then another question can come, how productive are you on a scale of 1 to 10? Now again, they have given a rating scale and they are asking you how productive are you. Now very simply, you can always highlight that on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm 9 or 10. So that means I'm highly productive in my job or in my career. Now the third question can be, what are some of the highlights of your career? Now this is an opportunity for you. If you get a question like this, talk about all your achievements, your performance background, the kind of appraisals that you have got, the kind of recognitions, rewards, awards that you have got. Because these are some of the highlights of your career. And many times people mistake, they don't realize that, and they start talking about something related to their personal life. Maybe they have bought a flat, or they got married, or they have got kids, but they miss out on this piece that they have to talk about those performing areas. Thus, if you look at all these three questions, have you ever done enough in your career? Number two, what are the highlights of your career? And on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you rate your performance and your career? It all talks about one area, that is your performing background. Do you have that performance appetite in you? Do you have a background that you are a performer in the past? Because past is the predictor of future. So if you have a background of high performance, directionally right attitude, you can definitely reproduce those same set of performance in future as well. So try to connect these questions from each segment, because they are talking about your performance background. Now let's get into another set of questions. Now these questions can be that, how important it is for you to structure your day. Or a question can be that, are there times when you are able to stay on track in case of distraction? Or the question can also come in the form that, what do you do when a customer puts you off the schedule? Now if you look at all these three questions, they are basically talking not only about your planning skills, but also to understand your patience, your perseverance in achieving your goals. Because when the first question comes, that how important is it for you to structure your day, it clearly shows that how much importance are you giving in planning. Because if you are doing a good planning, there are high chances that you are able to achieve your objectives in accordance to your plan. Then there is a second question which is talking about, are there days when you are off the track? How do you manage yourself when you are not able to achieve your objectives and you get distracted? Because when you go off to work, there are many challenges that you may come across. It can be traffic, it can be a situation when the customer is not giving you time and you wanted to spend time with the customer. And all these situations can put you off the track. Now, how do you deal with it? So the answers has to come, because these are very practical situations. So the answers have to come in a very consistent way by saying that, yes, I do plan my day. I structure my day in such a way that I do most calls, most important customer calls so that I can make most out of my day. The second part is that if a customer puts me off the schedule, I ensure that it is very often, or it is very common that customer does that, but I don't lose my patience. I wait for the next opportunity to meet the customer. And at that point of time, you can add some real-time example. The third is that what happens in case, are there times when you face distraction, or you get distracted? When I say distracted, means that you got busy with some other priorities and you are missing out on some serious priority that you have. So again, you may say that generally it doesn't happen that I get distracted, but if it happens, I quickly come back to my core focus of my work. Now look at this, that how smartly these questions have been tuned to check your consistency, your perseverance, and your patience towards the focus that you need to have towards your goal. So now let's look into some more questions. Now, question number one, do you have things that you want to leave next year? Question number 2, when it comes to future, what are your plans? Question number 3, what do you owe to your success in your job? Now, if you look at these 3 questions, there is a pattern in it. There is a sequence in it. So let's say question number 1, do you have things that you want to leave next year? What does it say? It simply says that what are your weaknesses? What are those areas that are pulling you down? Have you identified them? Do you want to leave them when you move into the next year? Question number 2, when it comes to future, what comes to your mind? Now what they are asking is very simply that what are the areas that you really want to develop that will help you to move to the next role or to grow your strengths further so that you can excel in the role that you are doing. And question number 3, where they categorically ask you that when it comes to what owes to your success. Now when it comes to what owes to your success, it's simply that they are asking you what are your strengths. Do you know what are your strengths? Now, having understood these 3 questions, I can very clearly tell you that a lot of people will just miss out that what they are asking, because they are not straight questions like that happens in a journal interview. Tell me your strengths, tell me your weakness, tell me the areas that you want to develop upon. No, Gallup will not ask you like this. Gallup will only ask you these incomplete and hidden questions, and it is only your intelligence that will bring out the best of the best answers from you. So if you connect these 3 questions, the competencies that they are trying to find out is your strengths and your weakness, and that is how you are able to assess them. Well, I'm sure there is a long list of questions, because in the real time when you go for an interview, you have to go for at least 100 or 120 questions, and every questions require a detailed answer, a justification, a very firm response, basis which you will be able to get the clear rankings that makes you to the next level or clear this interview. So I'm sure you would have gone through some of these questions and would have got some fair idea that if you really need to prepare, what are the things that you need to look into it? What are your own strengths? What are your own weaknesses? What are your examples of success? How you correlate all those things with respect to the competencies that they are searching in you to get you into the job or the role that you have applied for. So I'm sure it has benefited you. I look forward for your feedback, comments, and any questions that you have and you still feel that you are not clear about, don't hesitate to write in the comment section. And of course, don't forget to share, like, and subscribe this channel. I'm coming with more and more information, knowledge for you all and for your development. And that's what I say. This is Human Capability Network, where we help people to develop their capabilities through knowledge, through sharing.